The Marriage Arrangement. Chapter 1. The Bargain. Aria stood nervously in the grand office of Sterling Group, her hands folded tightly in front of her. Across the wide obsidian desk sat Damian Sterling, the man known as the Cold King of real estate. Young, incredibly wealthy, and notoriously ruthless. He had built his empire by buying failing companies and rebuilding them his way, or destroying them completely. Her father's construction company was on his list. "You know why you are here, Miss Hale," Damian said. His voice was deep, calm, and completely void of emotion. He didn't even look up from the documents in his hand. "Your father owes me a fortune. The contracts he signed were broken. The payments never arrived. Legally, I can take everything he owns. His land, his company, his reputation, everything." Aria's heart hammered against her ribs. "I know. That is why I came. I am here to make a deal." Damian finally looked up. His eyes were dark, sharp, and piercing. He looked at her like she was a puzzle he didn't care to solve. "A deal? What could you possibly offer me that I don't already have?" "Me," Aria said, her voice steady despite her fear. "Marry me. For 1 year. Publicly. Give my father more time to pay, or forgive the debt entirely, and I will be your wife." Damian leaned back in his chair, a cold, humorless smile touching his lips. "You want to sell yourself to save your father. How traditional. But why would I want a wife? I don't do love, Miss Hale. And I certainly don't do marriage." "Because the board is pressuring you," Aria replied, surprising herself with her boldness. "I read the news. Investors think you are too young, too reckless, too unstable. They want to see you settled. Married. Responsible. A wife will secure your next big project, the Skyline Towers development." Damian's smile faded. She was right. That project was the biggest of his career, and his investors were nervous. He stood up and walked around the desk, stopping right in front of her. He was tall, imposing, radiating power. "Fine," he said suddenly. 1 year. You move into my penthouse. You appear with me at every event, every meeting, every public occasion. You smile. You wave. You play the perfect wife. Behind closed doors. You stay out of my way. I stay out of yours. Separate bedrooms. No touching. No questions. And most importantly, no falling in love." He held out a thick contract. "And one more thing," he added, his eyes narrowing. "I hate your father's company. I think they are sloppy and outdated. If I find out you are using your position here to help their business, I will ruin everything. Do we understand each other?" Aria nodded, her throat tight. She knew exactly how risky this was. Because what Damian didn't know, what she had hidden from everyone, was that she wasn't just Aria Hale, the daughter. She was Aria Hale, lead architect. And she was the one designing the blueprints for his precious Skyline Towers project. She was entering the lion's den. And she had to keep her identity a secret. "Deal," she whispered, signing her name. Chapter 2. New home, new rules. The Sterling penthouse was located on the top floor of the tallest building in the city, a building Damian had designed himself. It was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling glass, sharp modern lines, expensive materials, and completely impersonal. It looked like a museum, not a home. "Your rooms are down that hallway," Damian said, pointing without looking at her. "Mine is on the opposite side. You may use the kitchen, the gym, the terrace, everything except my private office and the design studio. Those are strictly off-limits." Aria's heart skipped a beat. The design studio. That was where all the plans for Skyline Towers were kept. The very project she was working on from her father's office. Understood, she said simply. Rules, Damian continued, leaning against a marble pillar. Rule 1. When we are in public, you are the charming, loving, devoted Mrs. Sterling. You call me, darling, you hold my arm, you smile like you adore me. Rule 2. When we are here, you are a guest. Do not disturb me. Do not ask personal questions. Rule 3. Do not bring anything related to your father's business into this house. Is that clear? Crystal, Aria replied. That first month was a test of endurance. By day, Aria played the role of the perfect socialite wife. She attended galas, charity dinners, and business openings. She smiled politely, made small talk, and stood by Damian's side like a beautiful statue. The press loved them. The power couple of the future, they called them. Damian Sterling settles down. Damian was a master at the game. In public, he was affectionate, charming, protective. He would whisper things in her ear that sounded sweet to others but were often just instructions. Smile more, lean closer, we leave in 5 minutes. But the moment the doors closed behind them, the warmth vanished. He would step away, put distance between them, and go straight to his office or his studio, locking himself away for hours. By night, when Damian was asleep or working late, Aria sat in her room with her laptop and sketches, working on the Skyline Towers project. She had to be careful. She couldn't let him see her drawings or her notes. She couldn't let him know that the designs he was praising, the designs he said were brilliant, and exactly what he wanted, were hers. One evening, she was sketching a new structural idea on a notepad, lost in concentration, when she heard footsteps in the hallway. Quickly, she shoved the paper under a book and stood up just as Damian walked past her open door. He paused, looking in. He was wearing casual trousers and a loose shirt, his hair messy from running his hands through it. He looked less like a ruthless billionaire and more like a man. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice neutral. "Just reading," Aria said, her heart racing. Damian's eyes scanned the room briefly, then met hers. He looked suspicious, but said nothing. He just nodded and walked away. Aria let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. This was going to be harder than she thought. Living with a man who hated everything she was, while secretly being the one person who understood his vision better than anyone else.